Hello everyone, Russ of Aquarimax here. Today I'm going to talk to you about my multi-tank and what's been going on in there. Well, first of all, you can definitely notice that the fish have been breeding. I started out with about 8 fish, and now I think I'm somewhere around 30, including the small fry. They're harem breeders, and so each male has staked out a territory. I think there are about 4 or 5 territories in here, with 1 or more females, and then, in many cases, fry. So they're doing really well. But there are some adjustments that I've been making, some that I've already made and some that I still need to make. The first one was the sand. Now, I really like the aesthetic effect of the piles of sand that the multies make, kind of like their natural habitat. But that can be a problem when sand is stacked too high. There can be pockets of anaerobic bacterial activity, which can produce toxic gases, and I didn't want any of that. And so just to be safe, I went in with a container and removed quite a bit of sand, enough I think so that it won't be a problem. It did kick up quite a bit of sediment. There's some very fine aragonite sand in the substrate and so on, which clouded the water for a while, but after a day of letting it settle, it was fine. And because I have a pre-filter sponge on the filter, I didn't have to worry about sand getting caught in the impeller and ruining it. So I think the sand is better at this point. Another thing that I still have to address is the lighting. Now, I do have a light on the tank temporarily right now for the purposes of filming, but the light that I built for it, which was a DIY project with an LED light strip, has actually kind of gone bad. It started out fine, but the color of the light strip started to change, and now it's kind of this color which I don't know if it's green or yellow. I'm kind of colorblind actually, but it's really not very attractive, and it's not the crisp white light that it started out as. An interesting thing is that when I look at the light fixture itself, the parts where the light strip is packed tightly together is where it's discolored, and where it's not packed tightly together, it's not discolored, and it's a lot warmer. It's running warmer where it's packed together. So what I'm assuming is that the heat is causing some problem with the color. So I have purchased another strip, and I'm going to be replacing this one and not packing the light strip so tightly together, not coiling it so tightly, and I'm going to see if that helps. Another issue that I have to address is that there are fish in the aquarium here with spinal deformities. I tried to prevent that from happening, but this allele is in the population. It's apparently a recessive gene that's showing up. I had to put some specimens in the tank for a while. They produced a few babies, and now the trait is becoming more prevalent, and I really want to make sure that that doesn't happen. I want this to be a healthy colony without this issue, so I'm going to have to remove some of those fish that have this spinal deformity. And one other thing that I wanted to talk to you about, while I give these fish some of their favorite foods, I'm going to give them some scuds and some daphnia. And while you watch them eat those, I'm going to ask you a question about the setup. Well, in the wild, when I've seen videos of multis in the wild in Lake Tanganyika, what I've seen is kind of a sandy plain with shells on it. There isn't much vegetation. There's a little algae growth, but there aren't other plants. And there aren't really any rocks or anything like that to speak of. It's just, like I said, a sandy plain with shells. Now, I've kind of replicated that in this tank with a bit of vertical space, which I also did because the videos tended to show quite a bit of vertical space above the shells being used by multis that didn't have territories. And so I wanted to provide that for them, and that's worked out nicely, and I do see fish using that vertical space. However, aesthetically, I'm not quite sure I'm happy with it, and I'm wondering if I need to put in a textured background, put in some plants that grow from the bottom to the top like Vallisneria, which do naturally grow in some areas in Lake Tanganyika and can stand the hard water that they need, or if I should do, something like that, or if I should just leave it the way it is. What do you think? So please let me know in the comments. There's always something interesting going on in this tank full of Africa's smallest cichlid. And if you're interested in keeping this species or would just like to know a little bit about them, you can check out my video on how to keep multis. Thanks for watching. I post videos every Friday, all related to keeping aquarium and vivarium pets. You're most welcome to leave a comment and a like, and for those of you who are waiting for an animal voiceover at the end,
subscribe.